and is happening in this country, and that's not democratic. And you look up what's going, a little off topic here, but what's going on even around the world. If you consider the fact that the United States now has a nominee for president that wasn't elected, there was no vote. Kamala Harris, for example, was just appointed nominee for the presidency of the United States. Not a single American, individual had a say from the party as to whether or not that was their choice. So that is not democracy. I love how people talk today about, the biggest threats to our democracy. The biggest threat to our democracy today is our own governments and their refusal to allow the people to be heard. Even within the UCP, one of the struggles I have is they keep saying grassroots, 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 but they're not grassroots. Everything is coming from the top down for the most part. Yes, Danielle is out and she's doing town halls. Thank you for doing that. You're listening to people. But here's the reality, is that when you are pre-selecting candidates and disqualifying candidates because you disagree with them, their opinion doesn't 100% align with yours, that is limiting the choice of the individuals whom they were asked to represent them. And so, I can just call on my own personal experience there. And it's okay. What I've come to realize is that I can have more influence outside of government, actually, and I'm probably glad that that didn't happen, because one of the things that they were concerned about is they couldn't control me, right? As you can see, my social media 6 years hasn't really changed. My message hasn't changed. For me, it wasn't about being a politician. It's about making change happen and ensuring that my daughter has got a future that I'm proud to have her grow up in, to make sure that she has the opportunities that I had. And, when you've got people who are not swayed necessarily by money or power or influence, yeah, we're harder to control. Absolutely. Critical thinkers. But the reality is, people are being robbed of their opportunity to vote for people like me and others. I'm not the only one. There was plenty of them. Danielle had promised to reopen nominations, for example, and that never happened, right? The COVID thing, on rights, we went from it's happening whether you like it or not to, it's rather a moot point now that, mandates are not being enforced, and people, my supporters, would understand. No, we don't understand. Anything I have learned with government is that when they do something and they've had as much success as they had with COVID and lockdowns, boy, they're looking for an excuse to do it again. And that's where the Alberta Bill of Rights became so important to a lot of people, is, we've lived through that once. We are not going to live through that again. So how do we put legislation into place to make sure that no matter what goes on around us, that the individual has the right, to make those types of decisions for themselves, and they can't be discriminated against because they made a different decision. If you were interested, you like a 1905 hat. If nothing else, they are a little battered, worn, and torn, just like Alberta is, a little bit rugged, just like Albertans are. People have asked me, is a little Yellowstone? I was like, that's okay. I'm okay with that. Little Yellowstone is fine as well. The reality is, we're here to push the envelope. We're here to apply a lot of public pressure. I'm not here to be a cheerleader. I am here to apply a lot of public pressure on this government and the next and the next, to make sure that, politicians are living up to the promises that they make. So I think that I have pretty much answered a lot of the questions. I've answered a lot of the rumors, and so with that in mind, I think we're pretty much at our hour, and I am going to sign off and say goodnight. Thank you, everyone, for watching and listening and participating, asking your questions. And if there is anything more that I can answer, again, Nadine at NadineWellwood1905committee.ca. Hit the contact me, and we will do our best to get back to you as quickly as we can. Now,